Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 2021 Ram 1500 Rebel to a 2021 Chevy 1500 Trail Boss LT. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram and the Chevy here in Provo for providing us with both of the trucks. Check out their inventory in the link below, and if you're looking to buy a new Chevy or a Ram, ask for Ryan Miller. Let's get into the video. Going to the hoods of both of the trucks, let's start with the Rebel here. So under the hood of the Rebel, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town, 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque. Coming over to the Trail Boss, we have a naturally aspirated 5.3 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 355 horsepower and then 383 pound-feet of torque. So a little bit better fuel economy, less power, less torque. A little bit worse fuel economy around town, but more power, more torque. Now let's go over the front ends of both the trucks, starting over here with the Rebel. So on the Rebel, we've got the sport hood with all of the really cool venting on it. And then you've got the LED lights, so they're LED reflector lights with the LED accent lights on the top and the bottom of the lighting cluster. Fog lights here down below, and then you've got the parking sensors all along the bumper, blacked out tow hooks, and then you've got the blacked out skid plate on this particular Rebel. And then you've got the blacked out Ram logo as well. It's part of the Black Rebel group. But that is everything for the front end on the Rebel. Actually, it's called the Night Edition now, but same. Coming over to the Trail Boss, you can see that you've got the really muscular hood from Chevy, so it's kind of got like a bulge right here in the center, and then you've got the bulges here on either side. Just looks really good in general. And then again, LED reflector lights with the little LED C-shaped light right there. You've got the Z71 logo right here, and then you've got the blacked out Chevy logo with the whole blacked out grille here at the front. And then we can see that we've got parking sensors here along the front with the red tow hooks, fog lights there at the bottom. But overall, the front end on the Chevy looks like just absolutely massive and imposing. And then you got the front end over here on the Ram, which also looks massive, just a little bit different. This kind of looks like sportier, whereas this just looks like more aggressive. Now coming around the side here, you guys are going to notice that things are exactly the same. We've got 18-inch wheels here on the Chevy with 275mm tires. They're 33s. 18-inch wheels here on the Rebel, 275mm tires. They're also 33s. And yes, you have the same exact tire on both the trucks. So from a tire perspective, the same. However, the Chevy has the 2-inch lift from the factory, whereas this Ram does not. Obviously, you've got little Bilsteins right there. You do have some off-road shocks. You just don't have the 2-inch front end lift like the Chevy has there on the side. Got the Z71 badge right there. Got a little Ram badge here on the side, and then you've got the blacked out 1500 badge as well. Notice that the mirror sizes are also pretty similar. So from like the side perspective, they're pretty similar. Now let's go over the beds of both the trucks. We'll start over here with the Trail Boss. So you can see you've got the plastic liner here, and then you've got the spray-in liner for the rest of the bed. LED bed lights here in the back of the Trail Boss, and then you do get a little power outlet here at the bottom, which is pretty neat. And then this is the shorter size bed for the Chevy. And then coming over to the Rebel, no bed liner. You can get that as an option, or you can get it done after the fact. And then this particular one does not have LED bed lights either. And then again, this is the shorter bed for Ram. That's what comes with the Rebel because it's the off-road package. But there's the bed of the Rebel. There's the bed of the Trail Boss. Now let's go over the rears of both the trucks. So starting here with the Trail Boss, I love the Chevrolet logo right there. It's just absolutely massive. Got all of the blacked out lettering right here. Got the squished exhaust tip on either side. If you guys are running, towing capacity on this truck's right around 9,300 pounds. You've got the blacked out bumper here as well with the little Chevy steps. Coming over to the Rebel, notice that everything is also blacked out here. And again, you've got the blacked out section there on the light blacked out exhaust tips that come with the Rebel. Towing capacity is just over 11,000 pounds with the Rebel. And then the last thing I want to mention is the LED lights in both of them. So you can see the Ram kind of comes up like that, whereas the Chevy just kind of like slightly comes onto the side. So just a little bit different on both of them. But that is everything for the rear of the trucks. Now coming into the back of the Chevy, you've got all the soft touch here with the wood trim, then you got stitching up above, and then coming to the seats, everything's blacked out. You do have the white stitching that kind of contrasts everything. And then opening this up, you got a little bit of storage right there on the seat, and then you can pick up the seat for some storage just underneath. Rubber floor mats all the way across. And then let's pop into the Chevy quickly. So step in height, it's really easy to get in. I've got a good amount of headroom. I'm about 5'11", and then you guys can see legroom is also plentiful here in the Chevy. Got a couple cup holders right here, and then we can see that we've got the full little 12-volt couple USBs, and then the seat belt, which is still across from the Trail Boss review, if you guys didn't see. But you can see we've got a couple cup holders right there, and that's all for the back. Now here's a look at the Rebel. So notice that, again, you've got soft touch stitching all across, and then you've got the soft touch up here with the blacked out trim. Just notice everything just looks slightly nicer than in the Trail Boss. Massive speaker back here. And then here are the seats in the back of the Rebel. So you notice the material use is just a little bit nicer than what the Trail Boss has for the seats. Still get the white stitching all throughout. Still get the rubber floor mats, but in the Rams you have the ice buckets, but you have no like seat storage like what the Trail Boss has. Do get under seat storage though still. And then popping in, step in height. Ooh, it almost feels higher. Pretty weird. But you guys can see headroom's about the same, and legroom's pretty similar too. We've got a couple cup holders right here, a couple USBs, and then a full power outlet. And then we've got the little center cup holder right here, and that is all for the Rebel. Now let's take a look at the door panel here at the front of the Trail Boss. So again, you've got the soft touch here with all of the wood trim, all of your window controls, your mirror adjustments as well. You've got a little door handle, then you've got the unlock and lock. And then coming over to the seat, again, you've got the blacked out seat with the white contrasted stitching here at the front bolsters. They're actually pretty soft to the touch. And then you got your adjustments on the side of the seat. It says Z71 again. Here is the pedal layout, and then you got your little parking brake right here, your light controls, and then you can see you've got your drive line select. So you got your auto, your 2-wheel high, your 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low, your drive mode select, and then over there is your trailer tow mode. And then there's one more look before we pop into the Trail Boss. Now let's quickly go over the interior with the Trail Boss. So you can see the steering wheel, everything is all blacked out, including the stitching on the center. You've got your controls for the center stack, your voice command, phone controls. I love how they even blacked out the Chevy logo here on the inside. Cruise control on the other side, you got your heated steering wheel, radio controls on the back of the steering wheel, and then you got little stock for the windshield wiper. Remember that drive mode select? That'll actually come into play right here. So you can see a little trailer that popped up, that's the trailer tow mode, and then you got the drive mode, so you shift it over to the other side, you got your normal, sport, and then you've got your off-road mode. Most of the driving will be in normal mode, unless you've got a lead foot, then you're gonna wanna be in sport mode. As for the rest of that center screen, there's a couple different menus you can scroll through, so you can see you've got your home, you have the information tab, the music tab, and then navigation, phone controls, and then you've got the settings tab right there, pretty straightforward, and then all the other gauges are analog. Coming over to the center screen right here, you can see that response time on this screen is actually pretty decent, and then the camera system that comes with it's really good. So you got the backup camera, which you can zoom in to the receiver hitch if you are going to be hooking up to a trailer, and then this does come with a cargo camera, which again has a zoom function associated with it. This touchscreen does come with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Coming down below, analog controls for the infotainment system, analog climate controls as well. You've got your hill descent control right here. You've got this for the power outlets, stability control, hazard lights. This drops down the tailgate, auto stop start, parking sensors, heated seats just up above. Your trailer brake controls integrated here. You've got a couple areas you can charge devices, including a full power outlet. A little bit of extra storage here. We've got a couple of cup holders, and then we have the full center console, which you guys can make your judgments on that, but I think it's pretty massive, and yes, you can charge more devices. Coming over to the glove box, you can see that it opens up both ways, pretty massive, good amount of storage space. You got stitching all around. And then finally, to finish things off in the Trail Boss, we do have a power sliding window. The button's right there. Press that and that'll open up the window. And then this does come with a sunroof as well. And the controls for it are just on either side of the window thing right there. And then yes, it does have one of these mirrors. Here's a look at the door panel on the front of the Rebel. So you can see it's identical to what's in the rear with all of the little trim pieces. And then you got your window controls right here, your mirror controls as well. And then here are the seats in the front of the Rebel. So again, you've got all of the soft touch here, which the seats are just a little bit softer compared to the Chevys. Got the little Rebel logo right there. And then you got the perforations all here in the center. Adjustments there on the side of the seat. Pedals just down below, and then you got your parking brake right here, pedal adjustment right there, all of your light controls, and there's one more look before we pop into the Rebel. Now let's briefly go over things in the Rebel. So again, with the steering wheel, you've got the smooth leather at the top and at the bottom. Then you got perforated leather on either side, which is a little bit grippier. White stitching on the center. Got your cruise control right here. This is just your gear limiter. And then you can see over here, you've got your voice command, controls for the center stack, radio controls on the back of the steering wheel. You got a little stock for the windshield wipers. And then coming into the center stack, you can see it looks just a little bit more modern. You got a little bit less in terms of the analog gauges here in the center. And then yes, you've got that little center screen which you can scroll through vehicle information. The cool thing is now you've got like a little off-road status here, so when you do take this off-roading, you can actually see a couple different bits of information. The most important one in my opinion is going to be the pitch and the roll, especially like if you're going down a really steep hill or something like that. But regardless, you guys can see the center screen is pretty neat, pretty modern, all that kind of stuff, and it's cool. It says Rebel there at the top. And then yes, this one has the giant 12-inch display. So flanking either side, you've got climate controls, you've got radio controls on the sides as well. Parking sensors down here, you've got your tow haul mode, your stability control as well. And then in terms of response time on the screen, response time solid. I'd say it's pretty much equal with the Chevy from a response time perspective. And then from the camera system perspective, you can see you've got a traditional backup camera with the zoom in just like what the Chevy has. No cargo camera with this particular truck though. And then other than that, with the rest of the infotainment system, this does have like a whole like off-road page thing, but it shows you pretty similar information to what's in the center stack, so nothing too crazy happening there. And then also heated seats, heated steering wheel, just like the Chevy, so they're identical on that front. Here's the gear selector. So the Chevy has that column shifter, whereas this has the dial shifter. And then you can see you've got your two-wheel drive, your four-wheel auto, your four-wheel high, and then your four-wheel low, true neutral. You've got your hill descent control and then the axle lock. This is the biggest difference. The Chevy's is electronic, whereas this, you press a button. So with the Rebel, you choose when you want the rear end locked, whereas with the Chevy, it chooses for you. Coming over here, we've got a couple of USBs. Tons of storage space here at the center console. You guys can see this is all pretty good, and then this still slides backwards and forwards. And I want you guys to let me know which center console area you like more. Do you like the Chevy more? Do you like the Rebel more? Coming over here, you've got the rest of the glove box with the Rebel, which is pretty good. And then again, says Rebel there. We've got all the stitching there at the top. And then finishing things up, this one doesn't have a sunroof, but still get the power sliding window and then regular mirror. Nothing too crazy there. Let's get into pricing on both of the trucks. So the Rebel stickers for about $59,000 before any type of market adjustment, and then the Trail Boss stickers for about $57,000 before any type of market adjustment. Now, obviously, we do have to pick a winner. So first and foremost, I want you guys to comment down below which truck you would pick out of the Trail Boss and the Rebel. Now, from an exterior styling perspective, I think they're both really good looking trucks. Like I said, this one looks kind of like more sportier. That one looks a lot more like aggressive and like muscular and kind of imposing. From an off-road perspective, they're pretty much identical capability-wise, right? They've got the same tires, similar amounts of ground clearance, all that kind of stuff. However, this one you cannot choose whether or not the rear end is locked, whereas this one you can choose it yourself. And the reason that's so important is you could be slipping out in the Chevy and the computer's going to take a second and then it's going to go, okay, I need to lock the rear end. Whereas with the Rebel, you just lock it in, boom, go off on your way. Now, in terms of features, the Chevy actually has a few more features compared to the Rebel, right? It's got that cargo camera, and so that's just a little bit more, but they're pretty similar. But this one also has the 12-inch display, whereas that one has a smaller screen. So again, feature-wise, they're somewhat similar. The interior on the Rebel is just a little bit nicer than the interior on the Trail Boss. So with that all being considered, I'm going to pick the Rebel for the winner, and also it has a smoother ride quality, so that definitely drives smoother than the Trail Boss. So like overall, they're really, really close, but the Rebel just pulls ahead with this 5.7 V8. If that had the 6.2, it would be a lot closer. That is going to sum things up for today's video on the Rebel and on the Trail Boss. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram and then the Chevy here in Provo for providing us with both of the trucks. Check out their inventory in the link below. Ask for Ryan Miller if you're looking for a truck, and I'll see all of you in the next video.